Hello.
Hey, hey.
We are here to review a film. Welcome to the waiting room. You know what we never do?
What?
We never introduce ourselves anymore.
I know,
My
because
name
people
is-
should know, but no, they don't.
My name's Rachel.
My name's Ante,
Hello. And we like to watch films and talk about films.
and we're going to be talking about a film. Well, I know how I feel about it. We'll be talking about how you feel about it too.
Well, this is a film that's very near and dear to your heart. So would you like to tell
yes.
the viewers what film we are talking about today?
We are going to be talking about Furiosa.
Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga.
Yes.
When did this come out again? When did the film come out?
I think overseas it was like the 24th. We're in Japan, Hiroshima, so I had to wait till the 31st.
Of?
Well, what are we now? Oh, May.
So we're
in June
now. Yeah.
So
So it came out at the end of May here.
Mhm.
How many times have you seen it?
2 times
Time.
only.
I saw it once. Just to sort of clarify, there will be spoilers. So if
Yep.
you haven't seen Furiosa yet and you don't want to get it spoiled,
Mhm.
click away and come back and watch after you've watched the film.
Mhm.
And be sure to like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell notification. We do a lot of trailer reviews and we have a few film reviews.
Mhm.
So be sure to check it out.
Film reviews we also put on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Yes, we do.
If you're listening on there, 5 stars, good review,
Yeah.
always appreciated.
5 stars. Yes. So,
Before we get into the story though,
yes.
talk about some goodies, right?
Yes. So if you, I've never had this happen to me whenever I saw a film in the US.
Mhm.
Ante's never had this happen in Australia.
Right.
But in Japan, sometimes when they release a big major film, they give you little freebies when you go to the theater.
Mhm.
So let's bring up the big one first.
Oh,
Because
okay,
it's
so
very
I think
big.
this is because I saw it in IMAX. So a few times they give out posters, really, if it's something big. So give you a nice little poster there.
Nice IMAX
Mhm.
poster.
So I'll definitely be framing this one and might pop in the background sometime soon.
They
What
also
else?
they had the same poster, an IMAX poster for Dune, but I hated the fact that it had the word IMAX written really big
like
on
it's
it.
on there, but it's like
Like I know why you're doing it, but
Yeah.
like maybe not. What else did you get on your many
Okay.
viewings?
Yes. Also got like I'll need a backlight for this one. It's like, what do you call it? Like a film strip, celluloid film strip
yeah.
of like a few of the
Hold on a second.
scenes.
All right, ready? Here we go.
Let's see if that'll work.
Can you all see? It has different scenes from the film.
Mm,
It's a nice little. Ooh, don't want to blind you all with the light. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool that they give you these
Yeah, it's a
just
cool
for
little
free.
strip. And then last of all, a nice little sticker.
A nice sticker.
Yeah.
You should do that. You got to do the like influencer thing. There you
Oh
go.
yeah. Sorry.
Sticker. Well, when I went a little bit after it had been released, so it was still showing in theaters, but I didn't think I was gonna get anything,
Mhm.
but I got this very cool
I like that one.
sticker.
That's very cool.
I like it's like got graffiti vibes and stuff
yeah.
to it.
Mhm.
Very, very cool.
I like the colors in that one.
And the back of it has like a QR code. So yeah, it's got like information and stuff. It's just one of those cool
Yeah.
things that sometimes you get in. So like I said, when I went to go see Dune,
Mhm.
I got a Dune sticker and I got a Dune poster. They were the
Yeah,
exact
yeah.
same image. So I was like,
Mhm.
well, all right. That was for the first Dune. When I went to see Dune 2, I was so late to the game that
Yeah.
they didn't give me anything.
You get nothing.
Yeah, absolutely nothing except a great film.
Mm.
And if you're interested in what we thought of Dune 2,
Yeah.
we have a review.
We do have a review
video.
on that one.
Yeah.
On a you cannot review,
On
as
the
we like
You
to call it.
Cannot Review segment. So be sure to check that out as well if you want to know what we thought about Dune 2.
Mm.
Are you ready to get into it?
I'm ready to get into it, man.
I'm really curious as to hear what you liked, if there was anything you didn't like.
Mhm.
I'm ready to get into this.
Well,
one.
you know what? I want to hear it from you first because I'm pretty sure you know what I'm feeling,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't know with you at all yet. Because
yeah, I haven't said anything.
Yeah, because you pretty much was like, saw it, not saying anything.
Yep. That's my go-to generally is because I know that we want to save this for the podcast. So I sent them a text being like, I'm going to see it today, and when I finished watching it, I said, okay, like I've seen it, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. What'd you
So,
think?
All right.
Mm.
This might be like the end of the waiting room as we know it because
Oh no, you're gonna kill it, aren't you?
I was really bored.
Oh my god.
To be 100% honest, I don't know how you sat through it twice.
I'm going to do it many times more.
So, all right, like, hear me out.
Yeah.
What I liked about it, let's start with that.
Yeah.
And I don't mean this to be, like, mean,
Mm.
like, oh, I'm so glad it's over, and that's why that was the best part. But at the end, it was my favorite.
Yeah.
When they actually allowed...
When the credits rolled?
No. When they actually allowed Chris Hemsworth and Anya Taylor-Joy to actually, like, have a dialogue back and forth.
Yeah.
Is what I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it was a very poignant scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I quite enjoyed the last ending.
Mm.
And I also like how with the credits they spliced in bits of Fury Road.
Yeah.
So you can see it's connected.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that young Furiosa.
She was awesome, yeah.
I liked how she looked just like Anya Taylor-Joy.
Mm.
However, when I was reading about Furiosa on screenrant.com,
Mhm.
I found out that they used CGI to make her look more like Anya Taylor-Joy, so I was slightly less impressed.
Mhm.
However, it was really seamless CGI because I didn't think they were using it.
And from what I know, the parts that they use, well, obviously not the start of her because that's just her, but just the kind of blend in the change.
Yeah, they said that they started out with, and this is all on screenrant.com. I'll try to find a link to the article.
Mm.
They said that they started out with 30% of Anya Taylor-Joy's face blended with the young actress.
Yeah.
And then they ramped it up to 80% as she
Yeah.
grew older. And I thought it was very seamless because I didn't think it was CGI.
Nope, I didn't see it at
So
all.
I'm impressed, but also like I thought that the actress just really looked like her, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, how did they do that?
Yeah.
I liked how Anya Taylor-Joy's voice genuinely sounded like Furiosa.
Mhm.
I appreciate, because that was the one thing I was really concerned about. There's only like one bit where, because she's mute for most of the film,
Yeah.
and when she's
By
on,
choice.
rightly so. So when she's on the war rig
Mhm.
and they're being attacked, and she like shouts to like the tiny war boy.
Yep.
That was the one time where she didn't sound like Furiosa, but everything
Okay,
else,
yeah.
she sounded a lot like Furiosa,
Mhm.
and I was very glad.
Mhm.
Obviously, the costumes, the props, the mech,
Yeah.
the makeup,
Mhm.
you can't fault that.
Mhm.
Especially there was this one that really stuck out to me. There was a scene where I don't remember who it was. They had like it looked like a war medal.
Yeah.
But it was made of like keys, like car keys, and it had like a heart in the middle.
Oh, who had that? Because I
think
know
it
Immortan
was-
Joe has a whole bunch of, some of them medals and some of them actually like pieces of car badges and
Yeah,
stuff.
I don't think it was Morton Joe. I think it was another one of maybe it was the leader of Gastown.
Possibly.
Somebody
Yeah,
had it, and
yeah.
it looked, just the attention to detail that the people have put in for obviously the cars.
Yeah. Well, the cars, like the vehicles,
insane.
their characters themselves,
Yeah.
they're part of the story.
Yeah. I didn't think that the car chariot was going to feature quite as heavily as it did.
Yeah.
I'm glad they made good use of it.
I love how they hid the person who was actually driving it. Because I don't know if you've seen pictures, but the center chariot, he's like, lying down
I was
right
like,
behind.
how are they controlling it? It didn't make sense to me. So yeah.
He's right down there behind that middle chariot, or the middle bike. It's pretty crazy how they did that.
I mean, the whole the prosthetic team, the makeup team, the costume team, the props team, they deserve all the accolades because they were so the attention to detail was insane.
Yeah.
Like you could probably watch it 100 times and still find something new.
You didn't go into it going for dialogue though, did you?
Oh, all right. Here's the thing.
Because Mad Max isn't known for dialogue.
I know, but hear me out, okay?
Yeah.
Hear me out. I rewatched Fury Road yesterday because I loved Fury Road.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is the disconnect that I'm feeling between Furiosa and Fury Road? And so for me, with the Fury Road rewatch, the first thing that really stuck out to me was that the soundtrack is way better on Fury Road. I felt like it was a very muted soundtrack. It was quite quiet in a lot of the scenes.
For Fury Road?
For Furiosa.
Oh, Furiosa, yeah.
Fury Road really was like, they were ramped up. And you could really, because there's no dialogue. There's not a lot of dialogue in Fury Road either.
Fury Road is a 3-day story and a big car chase.
Right? And that's why it grabs you the way that it does. And so when I was watching Furiosa, it is a long story.
Yeah, it's based like over 15 years or so.
Told over the course of some hours, 2.5?
2.5, yeah.
2.5 hours,
like that, yeah.
right? Which you have to obviously, you know, like they do some time jumps a little bit and stuff. But I just didn't connect with any of the characters.
Really?
Because nobody is talking.
Chris talks a lot.
Well, we'll get into him.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing I did like. Chris Hemsworth's performance.
Oh, so looking forward to seeing him.
He committed to the character. 100% committed.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that. I really, 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 really appreciated that because I didn't know what to expect going into it with him. But I love how even when he is literally about to die, he's still like he's very like a smooth talker and kind of talk his way out of any situation. And he's still trying to do that despite the fact that he knows he's gonna die, and that's commitment. So I really
he can talk.
He has like all of the lines.
Yeah,
I think I read this in Screenrant. So Anya Taylor-Joy has like 30 lines in the film. Like that's it.
Which pretty much when you look at all Mad Maxes, like the main character usually doesn't say anything.
So in Fury Road, she has 80 lines.
Well, there you go.
So more than double. So I have questions, though. I have questions about the film. Okay, so Furiosa is kidnapped as a child.
Yes.
And then she kind of gets traded off to ᴏᴜᴛʴᴏ. And at first they put her in the vault, which I assumed their end game was she was going to become one of the wives eventually.
Yeah.
So how is it that she was? I mean, she's able to escape.
Yep.
Cleverly escape. And then she just kind of disguises herself as like not a war boy, but like
not even a war boy. Yeah, just as a
dog
worker.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. My question is, why did nobody care that somehow Furiosa was missing in the first place?
Well, my only thing is like, did you see how many wives were in there at that time compared to before?
Yeah, there were a lot of wives.
Right?
Well, some of them go on to become the mother's milk.
Well, yeah, the ones that, they just get kicked out pretty much.
But also, like, wouldn't they take notice that this small child, the only small child in that cavern of wives.
Yeah.
Why did nobody care that she was missing?
Well, they kind of jumped after that, so I'm sure they did.
Because I kind of wanted to see that.
Because it's right after that when they kind of they skip.
Yeah, but I was just like so confused of like, how was she able to get away with like that? Right? So that was one thing that I was like, I don't know. My note, I have all these notes on my phone that I made after film. Did no one care that she went missing from the Prego vault?
the Prego vault, yeah.
So she also keeps her hair quite long. And I know she's trying to hide the seed in her hair. But I'm like, if you're trying to pose as a boy, which it seemed like she was trying to do at first, but then when she's older, she's clearly not a boy.
Yeah.
And she has very long hair, which doesn't seem very practical for the desert. So I'm like, why didn't she cut her hair if she's pretending to be a boy?
But she wasn't even really out in the desert until that she decided to get on the rig to try and get away.
No, but she was on the war rig with
That's what
Jack.
I'm saying. That was the first time.
But I'm like, wouldn't...
That was the first time she got out of the Citadel.
I think she should have cut her hair if she's trying to pose as a boy, though, at least.
Well, she did it later.
Yeah, because, like, you don't really see her hair and face really exposed until the rig comes under attack, right?
Yeah.
And she's sort of forced to, like show her hand.
Yeah,
essentially.
Exactly.
But, like, nobody seems to care. They're like, oh, well, I guess she's a girl.
Yeah.
Okay, which, go off. But, like, it just was very confusing that, like, she was taking such pains to hide her identity, and then it's just, like, out there in the open.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know how that...
Well, guess it also comes down to the fact that she became worth something more when she's,
I guess, but, like, wouldn't they want her as, like, because she's, like, a healthy human, which was something they, like, made a point of being, like, she's, like, healthy and has no disease.
Yeah.
And...
Well, I heard...
Wouldn't they want to, like, take her as one of the wives?
Interesting, I heard, like, a few review people say it's like... And actually going on this, it's just clicked that in that world, amongst all those war boys and all that, people aren't right in the head in general.
True.
So yeah, you could argue it, and then you can argue like maybe they didn't care. Because a lot of them are like hyped up in their own little V8 cult.
Yeah. It just seemed like really weird to me that it was like she went through such pains to like try and pose as a boy, and then she was just like, and everyone was like,
Yeah.
For me, and I know that because it takes place over the course of like 15 years, the pacing was quite slow because you get a lot of not exposition as in spoken exposition, but exposition as in we're going to introduce Gastown and Bullet Farm and these sort of warlord interpolitics. I was just like yawning through half of it.
Wow. You know what? That must come down to my Mad Max bias then. It must.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that the actors I feel like didn't really shine until the end.
Yeah.
Like they have this great cast, but like so Jack, who Furiosa is kind of like her mentor. He's like one of the few people that's like kind to her.
Yeah.
But we don't really. I mean, they don't really talk a lot. They have their like nice moments.
Yeah.
But I don't really care, as in the fact that like once, I mean, he's killed in this really brutal way.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like tearing up. I was like, like, oh, all right. Like I've only seen you on screen for like 30 minutes or so. So
Rachel's cold, man.
I know.
I mean, I wasn't crying, but I was like, oh fuck, you know.
So yeah. Also, I have a motorcycle question. So in the beginning when they you know a lot about this. So in the beginning when they show her mom, so they're chasing after Furiosa who's been taken.
Yeah.
Is it possible to ride a motorcycle barefoot?
Yeah. It's not a.
I wouldn't recommend
it, and it kind of hurt to change gears a little bit after a while. But yes,
but you can.
Definitely can.
He was like riding the bicycle or the bicycle. Riding a bicycle, furiously pedaling.
Pedal away.
She was riding the motorcycle barefoot, and I was like, "Is this a thing that you can do?"
Yeah, you definitely can. And going on to that, because I know someone actually asked me, he's like, Furiosa getting away after she's got one spoiler, right? We know she has one arm, right?
One arm, yeah.
How is she riding a bike with one arm if you can change gears with one arm? You don't necessarily need a clutch on a bike, but you should be using your clutch.
I didn't think about that.
Yes,
I was too busy being like, how is she not dead?
Yeah.
How is she not dead from shock because blood loss? You know, that was another thing. But I was like,
because it was a lightsaber. Oh, wrong movie. No.
I was like, well, I'll let that slide because I had other questions and concerns.
Yeah.
Did you notice how like freakishly huge Anya Taylor-Joy's eyes looked the whole film?
Yeah.
I'm like, are your eyes that big, or like they looked so big, like anime eye
I
big.
think the makeup.
It was like her eyes looked huge the whole movie, which was cool, but it was also like a little.
Well, that's another thing that they were saying, like with her in particular, because not much dialogue.
Yeah.
She had to portray a lot through facial expressions and eyes, and yeah.
And I applaud her for being able to do it. I think she pulled off the character.
Yeah.
Just the problem was, for some reason, I just wasn't as emotionally invested in her as I was in Fury Road.
Right.
I have another interesting kind of gripe with the film is that the Japanese subtitles took quite a few liberties.
Oh, okay, so yeah, I had subtitles, but I'm not reading them at all. So
there's one point in the film where Furiosa has Dementis cornered, and she's like on that high sand dune, and he shouts at her, "Are you that? Are you that?"
Yeah.
Right? And the way that they translated that was like, it was like translated in the subtitles like, "Are you revenge? Are you vengeance?" And I'm like, but they didn't say that. He said that.
Yeah.
Like we don't know what he means. Why are you assuming this is what he means?
Yeah, it's interesting when they do that with subtitles. Like, my Japanese isn't the best still, but sometimes even I pick out something like, that's not what was said.
And like subtitles for films in other languages that are subtitled in Japanese, they have apparently a slew of very strict rules for how you can subtitle things. So maybe it came down to some kind of rule. I don't know. But then there are other bits where, what they call like shotguns or boomsticks.
Yep.
The lightning sticks?
Thunder
sticks?
I think so. Yeah, I think the thunder sticks, yeah.
So I was like, well, this is a linguistic quirk of the Mad Max world, right?
Yeah.
Where they have,
like word burgers.
Yeah.
Mm.
McFeasting.
Right.
Yeah. So this kind of like interesting linguistic quirk that I think should be, or at least try to be preserved when you translate it, right?
That would be kind of difficult too, right?
Well, here's the thing. What really disappointed me was when Jack gets a shotgun for Furiosa. And it's just like, when you get it, he's like, here's your boomstick.
Yeah.
Right? But they just translated it to shotgun, like shotgun. And I'm like, I know it's a shotgun, but couldn't you have...
You could have
had shotgun with like boomstick over it or something kind of creative.
It could have been done. I get you. Yeah.
Because it's the same with the thunder sticks. Is they just translated it to the word yari, which is lance. And I'm like, but it's not a lance.
Yeah. They're not all sitting there speaking ye old English in the wasteland. Far from it.
So it's like, I feel like I wish they would have tried a little bit harder with those kind of linguistic. That is a very specific nitpick, though. Yeah,
because not everyone's in Japan watching it.
It's a very specific nitpick.
Yeah.
So one of the things another kind of bit of the film that really sort of summed up how I felt was, the scene where Dementis and his gang are dragging Jack.
Yeah.
And it fades from like day to night. And then like Dementis is like, enough, I'm bored.
Yeah.
That was kind of me the whole film. And there was...
Harsh people.
Okay, look, I have this the BBC did a review. And they really summed up how I felt and why I think it probably didn't work for me as much. So I'm just going to read this passage, and I'll link to the article. This is an article on the BBC written by Nicholas Barber on the 16th of May.
Pretty sure I read this one.
So, the dizzying circus stunts and pedal-to-metal drag racing are still spectacular enough to recall Steven Soderbergh's two questions about Fury Road. How did Miller get these action sequences finished? And how come hundreds of people weren't killed? I felt the same way. These action sequences are mind-blowing.
Right.
Like, absolutely mind-blowing. And the whole time I was watching it, I'm like, how did they even film this, first of all?
Yeah.
Because where do you put a camera? So really, the action sequences they're fantastic. Over the top.
Yeah.
But it continues. But the fact is that they don't top what's been done in previous Mad Max films. And because they lack a clear, urgent narrative purpose, Miller's strenuous efforts to up the ante come to feel more exhausting than exhilarating. You soon reach the point where you're sick of sand, sick of explosions, sick of off-puttingly sadistic violence, and sick of thunderous drums bashing away on the soundtrack, and yet the film keeps piling on more and more and more of them.
Interesting how he mentioned sadistic violence, because I was talking to my brother. Did I already mention my brother's watching it again probably as we speak?
As we speak.
But sadistic violence, okay, Mad Max is known for a lot of violence.
Yes.
However, do you know what I thought was like really good? The way that it's like, you don't need to show everything, right?
Yes.
So when, spoilers again, Furiosa's mother is pretty much getting killed, right there. They kind of just zoom in. You don't
really know what's happening precisely.
The guy getting ripped on the bike in 5 different directions.
I appreciated that they didn't show that.
All the dirt, it's like, that's, I think, also, well, I'm going to say, showing Miller's maturity. He's not a young guy in general, but it's that whole thing of like, you don't need to show that. Yeah. People know. And it's gruesome enough.
Yeah, I really appreciated that, actually.
Yeah. So the things that it's like, they could have gone full on all out, but not good enough.
Yeah. And you also see that a lot in Fury Road as well, I realized on my rewatch. But I felt like it was, and they have a huge story they were trying to tell. And I sort of felt like it might have worked better as a TV series.
Here's the thing, that was supposed to be an anime.
Right.
Just not a series either, just an anime. Yeah.
Right. And so I feel like it's almost a disservice to turn it into a film, because it didn't really, I feel like, translate as well as it could have. Because there's just so much story, and then there's like side stories that come in, and it just ended up dragging a lot for me until the very end, where they really let the actors shine.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, like now I'm kind of like into it, and then it was over. And I felt I walked out of the theater and I was like, oh, Ante's gonna hate me.
Got that right.
Like, this is probably the first time I think our opinions haven't really lined up.
No, because like
on a film.
I gotta say, two of my films of the year, because I loved it. This is my film of the year. My number 2 is Dune. So it's all just sand this year for me. Sand and Anya Taylor-Joy.
The similarities of like the big cowl cape and the sand dunes. I was like, wait a minute, I'm watching Mad Max, right?
Yeah. And talking about how he got things together too, I just read an article about, so one of my favorite characters, because I'm a bit of an airplane nerd, the Octobus.
See, I didn't know who the Octobus was.
It's going to be Octopus. The bike with the massive, you actually see it at the start. There's a massive parachute with the 8 legs. And
yeah.
Okay. I just read an article that they had that working. They had a flying 400-kilogram Harley Davidson on a paramotor and a massive octopus.
Insane.
And Miller said no.
Was he the guy in the black mask?
They cut it. They had it running, going as fast as the trucks. And Miller just, it's a little bit, bit dangerous.
I saw in the credits that all of the bikes were provided by like Harley Davidson and
Harley Davidson, BMW,
and BMW, Harley Davidson,
and Yamahas as well.
And I was like, that's crazy.
And I love that most of the bikes sounded like my beautiful bike, little thumper. Oh God!
I mean, it was very like the mech is very impressive. Extremely impressive. And I wanted
so many little things that, like you're talking about the Mac as well. Yeah. So when Furiosa became so when that first big fight, the Mac has the one tanker.
Yeah.
When she joins as Imperator driver, it becomes a double tanker. It's kind of like that, kind of like, okay, so there's the 2 of them now. There are so many, again, this is going back to my Max bias.
Yeah.
So many little things and so many little nods to all the other Max movies that a lot of people might not see.
Right. It lacked the universal appeal that Fury Road had.
I can't compare them because they're just 2 different animals to me.
Yeah.
They're just very different movies, just set in the same world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on my rewatch of Fury Road, the differences were so stark.
Yeah.
I had literal goosebumps at the end of Fury Road. I was literally, when the sad parts happen, I am like on the verge of tears.
Yeah.
Because they've somehow made it a more emotional film because they only have like a few days that they're covering. They're not covering the span of years.
Yep.
So I feel like it would have been better if they had either, and I know they didn't want to like cut it down because I know they wanted to tell the story of Furiosa. But I just feel like it was like not a wasted opportunity, but like it could have been so much better.
Yeah.
But it kind of, I mean, it's definitely a film for the Mad Max fans.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Which is all well and good.
You're the first person that I've spoken to that's seen it, that I've heard this type of reaction from.
Well, I mean, I'm.
And I don't just mean guys.
I'm not really big into the Mad Max universe. That's why I was so shocked when I enjoyed Fury Road. I was like, I didn't think Mad Max was like this.
Yeah.
And then I watched Furiosa and I was like, oh, this is what I thought Mad Max was like. And that's probably why it didn't really resonate with me. Because I feel like I didn't have enough time to get to really be emotionally invested in any of the characters because it's constantly like, okay, next. The whole sum of a war is just going to be kind of glossed over. Like, yep, there was a war. And I know why they did it.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to like it more than I did. But just like, I mean, you don't even get to adult Furiosa until like an hour through the movie. And I'm just like, are we there yet?
See, for me, like, also the thing with Furiosa is, yes, it's a Furiosa film, but because, Max really isn't even in it. He's only there for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, like 2 seconds.
All right. He does do a good deed, though.
I thought it was cool that they had him in there.
Yeah. But this is world building for me. And again, because I'm such a big fan, it's like, give me more. I want to see more than just the Citadel, which is great, so that we could see the other, like, Bullet Farm and all that things.
Town.
Not only that, other tribes being involved.
Yeah.
So it's like, you had Dr. Dementus, the amount of tribes that he brought together, because you had like the Octobus, he obviously had his own crew, which he gets the shits later and heads off, From Fury Road, the Rock Riders.
Yeah.
They showed up again.
I like the Rock Riders.
They're pretty
When
cool.
I rewatched Fury Road, I was like, oh yeah, I like these guys.
Yeah. So in a way, I was like a little upset. I was like, oh, they didn't bring the buzzards back. You know, the guys with the spiky cars that attacked in Fury Road. Like, they didn't show them. But it's just, for me, world building, I'm such a massive fan of it that, like, on my second time, my second viewing was my analyzing viewing and just picking out little more things that I could tie back. Like, okay, so my people might not realize when Furiosa, little girl, the whistle that she has around her neck is the same like the whistle that is used in Thunderdome, which is like, that's Max's whistle. Not his whistle, but that style of old, what is it, sailor's whistle that they use. And like, there were so many other little things. The little girl in the introduction.
Valkyrie?
Yeah, so maybe some people don't know. Hang on, that's Valkyrie from Fury Road.
Yeah.
Later on.
Which, did they ever name her in Fury Road?
I don't think they did.
I don't think they said her name because I rewatched it.
Yeah.
Literally yesterday. And because I was like, oh, that's because I knew that her name was Valkyrie because in the subtitles.
Yeah.
It said Valkyrie. And so I was like, but they never say.
Well, it's like that thing of like when people ask, how do people know it was Ewoks in Star Wars when they never mention them?
Ever mention that?
No. Right?
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. Like I could personally go on about this forever because again, just for me it's art.
Is there
the
anything
vehicles,
that you didn't like about it?
It ended. Because you know what? I went into it first hearing bad things. And you know what? I think that was good now. Because the people going like, oh, the CG is really... And there was some parts in some trailers where even I did a little bit of a...
There were a little...
But these are in trailers too. And I felt that, I don't know if it's on the bigger screen, it didn't register for me.
I will say, upon my rewatch of Fury Road, I feel like I noticed a lot more CG.
Yeah.
Than I noticed on the big screen. And when I thought back to Furiosa, the few things that stood out to me as unnecessary camera-wise seemed to be the zany zoom-ins that they really overused.
Yeah.
Like, zoom in on the character's face, zoom in on this, zoom in on that. It seemed a little overused. But again, I literally yesterday, I did a deep dive on Screenrant reading all the things I could about Furiosa. And stories from all these different people, including the director. And they were talking about how the zany zoom-ins were sort of, because, you know, it's not a serious piece of film. It's fun. You know, it's got comical
people need to
bits
remember
to
it is a movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's not real life.
It's got...
Not now. Maybe.
I have a story about that. But so they did these sort of zany zoom-in moments to sort of let you know that, like, you know, this is kind of a fun movie and it was meant to push it over the top. So that was like intentional.
Yeah.
Which I get. So speaking of how the film is not real life, the actor that played Rictus...
I know, keep going, but I read about this today. Yeah, go on.
About it today too.
Yeah.
This was also, I believe I read it on Screenrant, where the actor who played Rictus was getting like DMs and like messages about the scene with him and young Furiosa. So there's a scene where he has like sexual intentions towards very young Furiosa, which is gross, icky.
Right.
But, you know, he has all those like baby doll parts in his.
He's not right in the head.
Yeah. And the actor was getting DMs about it, and he's like, I want people to remember that
it's a movie.
This is a movie and not real life. Which I was like shocked that people wouldn't
I am
put that together.
I am shocked, but then when I think about people today in general, have I told you I don't like people? Anyway, some people like, yeah, it's not real life. They actually need to be told, okay?
Yeah, and I was very surprised. I was like, this is like none of this is real.
Yeah.
Like, he's an actor playing the character. No children were harmed in the making of this film.
Yep.
No. It was interesting.
Well, for me, like, again, my Max bias, like, it's the original director, the original stunt coordinator. It's being filmed this time in Australia.
Which is very cool.
Another thing, like, this, Australians would have picked this out. I could not tell you the list of Australian, like, even, like, local actors that I picked out. It's like, I know that face.
Oh, wow.
I know that. The amount of actors that they got, just, like, Australian actors that aren't Hollywood.
That's very important, I think. Especially for a film like Mad Max.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. What was another interesting one? just going on that. Very. Oh, okay, yeah. People that aren't even actors. There was a guy in the Citadel. He's an old Asian-looking guy, and I had to do the double take and search it up later. He's a crazy local guy in Sydney that I used to beep at too, because he'd stand at the side of a big smile sign on highways. So
That
he kind
is
of got known for that.
Hardcore local lore.
Right? He's literally just there for a few seconds. I'm like, that's the guy because he just used to hold a big smile sign.
just
like,
doing his thing.
Kooky guy but harmless, right?
I love that.
And like they put him in there. I even recognized the face of someone who's like not a professional actor that was one of the like poor wretches in Citadel from Fury Road, but he was at the fuel place, Gastown, yeah.
Interesting.
So it was like, there's so many things that I just picked out and why I want to see it again.
Because I'm sure there's like a million of those like Easter eggs that you could definitely, because they condense a lot of movie into those. It's not even 3 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in the modern cinema landscape, having a film that's less than 3 hours is kind of short.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really wanted to I'm impressed that they were able to fit such a huge, massive 15-year span of time into this film. But I just couldn't connect with any of the characters because they all sort of seemed the same.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, ᴑᴜᴛʴᴏ is evil. Oh, Dementis is crazy. The bullet farmer, Gastown guy, was it the People Eater?
People Eater, yeah.
People Eater and the bullet farm guy whose name what is his name? What do they call him? He's got some name, yeah?
Oh, wow. You think I'd know it, eh?
Yeah, I was going to say, of all people.
He's the bullet farmer.
Just the bullet farmer?
Yeah.
Yeah. So but they all sort of are like, well, we need to...
Which again, People Eater and the bullet farmer, they're more local Australian actors, like from Australian dramas.
That's cool.
That's why even when when I was like, what? The little guy, the war pup, you were saying.
Yeah.
Do you know how he got in it?
No.
He was this was years ago, he got picked on something, bullied at school. He's got some type of dwarfism. And his mother recorded him once coming home from school and just his reaction and how bad he's been bullied. Miller saw it.
And he's like, put him in the movie?
You know what? Nah, that's not right. This guy needs a bit of a,
That's a good story.
Let's put him in. Because like even saying, it's like, he's going through life. It's hard. It's like, Miller said it himself, it's like, it's kind of his own little Mad Max story that he's living through every day. So it's really nice that, that he put that in. But yeah. I loved it. It's 5 stars for me, man.
I would say I would give it 2.5 stars out of 5.
That's harsh.
I know, but it's just, some films you vibe with, some films you don't. Again, when I rewatched Fury Road, I was like, this is incredible.
Yeah. You can't compare them.
I know, but I I do. Because, and that's why I think to begin with, Fury Road was just such a masterpiece. And if you're going to follow it up, especially with prequels, usually don't do well.
Yeah.
It's just a fact. I think there are probably very few prequels that you could say are really good. And because I'm not a hardcore Mad Max universe, maniac, there are just these things go over my head. And it leaves me not invested in the characters. And for me, if I'm going to if I like a film, it's because the characters are really driving it. So I sort of needed to connect with them a little more. Because they're like 2 villains in the movie, essentially.
Yeah.
And then you kind of, it's just like, halfway through, Chris Hemsworth Dementis disappears for a while. And then he kind of comes back and I'm just like, I don't care what happens to these people. I was like,
I liked seeing the change in him when it's obvious that Chris can hold a few hundred people together out in the wasteland.
Yeah.
But then when it comes down to actually putting something together, looking after Gastown.
Can't run the town.
Because when you see when they show up in the rig after and he shows up on, he's gone from the chariot to what's called the 6-foot, the big truck.
It was like the monster truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called the 6-foot, 6-wheel motherfucker. It's very cool. But when he shows up on that, you actually see him, he's grey, almost gaunt, he looks stressed.
He doesn't look like he has power anymore.
No.
As opposed to when he was the Red Dementis.
Yeah.
I love how when he's like, you make me Dark Dementis.
Dark Dementis. And
I love how dramatic he is.
I like it too when he starts covering the guy the white to become a war boy, and he's like, take your shirt off, and it's like, I only take orders from the
From the
Octobus.
Octobus. And I was like, who
And
the
it's like,
fuck is the Octobus?
And the way he just looked, questioning my authority. I love the words that they come up with. Too,
yeah,
so.
I feel like he really stole the show.
Yeah.
And, you know he's a bad guy and he's an awful person. But the way that he's just, like, charming, it's that disarming
Which
charm.
is why, like, you saw the biker horde. That's probably why he got all those people together. It's just like, even though deep down he's scum.
Yeah, trash.
He's like, yeah.
Absolute trash.
He's one of my favorite villains, I got to say. The other thing, too, the imagery, because he's always got that parachute cape.
Yeah,
and it's
that
white.
Cape was great.
First, when I saw him, too, when he turns his head and was like, who we got here? I love that. Just the look on his face. But he's all, white, almost like
a very godlike
Jesus look, right?
Yeah, godlike figure.
But then when they talk to that other war, when they let off the smoke grenade, and then he gets all the red dust all over him, and his cape gets more red, and by the end, then it's even more blackened.
Yeah, so they go through
dark Dementors, right?
Yeah, so from white to sort of less insane. He's still sort of insane.
Yeah,
less insane. The red, the insanity sort of takes hold, and then becomes the black, which is just like evil, insane. And the way that they depicted that visually, I think was really great. I like how they used the flares.
Yeah.
Because I didn't...
The sky blood.
Yeah, the sky blood. Love that.
That's pretty cool.
Love that. And I thought it was really cool how they used those colors. Because like, when I was rewatching... Sorry, I'm talking about Fury Road for half of this. When I was rewatching Fury Road, they do have the flares.
Signals, yeah.
Which I didn't really... it's been a long time since I watched Fury Road. And I really should have watched it before I saw Furiosa. But I was like, oh, they had those in that film as well. So it's just like, that was just part of the world in general.
Yeah.
And I like how they use that to sort of color the people as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
it's just, when you think about it, it's like, how do I make just the Outback look nice? Or, a little bit of color in there. But I guess that's also the good thing when you think about Australian redback has more of that red sand look too.
Yeah, that's like the image.
Yeah.
The image that I have of the Australian Outback is sort of like that red clay, burnt sienna kind of color.
Which is like, I've only seen it a few times when I was living in Australia because I'm not living in the middle of the wasteland anyway.
Nobody lives in the middle of the wasteland.
Yeah, a few people actually do, but not many.
It's I mean, the opal miners of old.
Yeah.
But it's just like, there's like nothing.
Actually in the middle, there are actually still people that actually live in, we'll call them houses, but they're pretty much underground.
You have to be underground, right?
Yeah, a lot of people do.
It's a flipping desert, right?
Yeah.
It's hot.
It's hot, man.
It's hot.
But even, what is it? It's strange when watching it and how they make everything look different because Bullet Farm was like half an hour from my house.
What?
And does not look anything like it. Wow,
what?
Bullet Farm is actually probably like a few minutes away from the Sydney airport as well.
That's crazy.
If you were to like drive across the beach, and
that's crazy.
Yeah, because when I flew back to Sydney last year, and going as it goes over the beach area, there's a lot of sand dunes and that, and there were still like remnants of Gastown there, and I was just like, oh wow,
crazy.
I could go on about this forever. But
this is the first time our opinions have split.
Yeah, totally, man.
I was very nervous coming in here today. I was like,
this might be the end of the waiting room.
Yeah, this might be the end. This might be the end. But like,
I don't think you hate it as much as you think you do.
I don't hate it. I just didn't enjoy it.
You gave it a 2, man.
No. If I hated it, I would have given it a 0. I wouldn't watch it again.
If you hated it that much, we wouldn't really be talking about it.
I wouldn't watch it again.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I saw it. Because the ending was very satisfying for me. It was like, it was kind of a slog to get there for me.
Yeah.
But when we got there in the end, I was like, okay, that's a pretty cool ending.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we got them to finally have the characters like really shine.
Yeah.
And of course, just like the makeup, the costumes, the props, all of that.
I can't even go into how much like
so
work.
Incredible. So if you are like me and you are not a Mad Max maniac, a Mad Max maniac, an MMM, you might want to wait to see this on streaming.
Which will probably be soon.
Probably be very soon. So you won't have to wait that long. But if you are a Mad Max fanatic, well, I'm assuming that if you're watching this, you've already seen the movie. But
Probably more than once.
But if you are on the fence about seeing it or not, then just if you're more in my camp, maybe wait. If you're in Ante's camp,
watch it. Watch it as many times as you can.
And then once it comes out on streaming, watch it some more.
You know, like when this stuff happens in the future, I'll be the one going, whew, glad I watched Furiosa.
Yeah, now you know how to survive.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Making, what was it, like lizard mince and human blood sausage?
As you do.
As one does. As one does. But let us know in the comments what you thought. Yep. Are you Team Rachel or Team Ante? Are you Team Fury Road or Team Furiosa? Because I really want to know what everybody thought about, because I've seen so many different reviews and a lot of people have really liked it. So I was like, maybe I'm in the minor camp here. But reading the review on the BBC, I was like, okay, maybe I'm not, because it summed up literally how I felt.
I don't know, man. Rotten Tomatoes, have you seen that one? 90/90.
I know.
Yeah, you're in the minors, man.
I know, but it just wasn't for me.
You're lucky we work together. We don't get paid though.
It just wasn't for me. That's all I'm going to say. It's not a bad movie. They clearly put time, effort, money, thought, a lot of thought into this story. And I want to commend them for that, because it's not like it's a bad story or like a not well thought out story. It just, for me, lacked a little bit of purpose.
Interesting little tidbit before we go, if people want to know. So people who wrote it was Miller and, I forget his first name, something Lathuris.
And you call yourself a fan.
I know. Actually, I have it written down here. Look, I got notes. You do not want to see. Nick Lathuris.
Nick Lathuris.
He actually he had a small role as the mechanic in Mad Max 1.
You and me are going to talk about the toe cutter. Never read it.
I love that. I feel
so there's so much.
George Miller, I feel
he finds people and
he really values those connections with people.
Yeah.
You know?
All the interviews though that I've seen with him, he just comes across such a humble, nice guy too. It's like just a normal person, and he's really thankful for their time.
Because he's getting on in years, isn't he?
He is, man. That's why we're hoping. Well, I am. He's still got, one or two more in the barrel with the Wasteland. So
yeah, we'll see what happens next in the world of Mad Max. But I want to thank you all for
thanks for listening,
watching
to this big word burger.
Huge. It's the word Big Mac.
Yeah.
And just remember that you are awaited in Valhalla.
Yeah.
Am I awaited? I'm awaited.
You might be. I know I am.
I'm probably not.
No. All right, guys. Take it easy. Thanks
for watching. We'll see you next time on The Waiting Room. I was going to say reacts to trailers. You cannot review.
Take it easy.
See you next time. Bye.